When Breath of the Wild came out, it revolutionized the gaming industry in many ways. In my opinion, this was the first game in a long time that took the idea of a true open world and said, you know what? We can do it better. Better than what, you might ask? Very good question, but the answer is pretty obvious. I'm talking about NBA 2K17. No. Of course, I'm talking about Skyrim. But realistically, that game came out in 2011 and it was still fun, but it was getting a little outdated, especially in terms of modern gaming. The formula needed something new, something fresh. And so, boom, here comes Breath of the Wild in 2017. This game released to critical acclaim and sold, I think it was about 31 million, and it even went on to win Game of the Year in 2017 versus some pretty strong contenders. And of course, Nintendo saw the numbers it was making and it was like, hey, can you do that again? Fast forward to now, and Tears of the Kingdom has been released. A lot of times sequels fail to capture that same magic the original had, so what about this game? Well, to be honest, Tears of the Kingdom actually kind of sucks. Yeah, really, it's a bit disappointing, and honestly, I think Breath of the Wild did it much better, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of all I have to say about it. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe. Thanks for watching, I appreciate it. Nah, I'm just kidding. What am I, crazy? This game is fantastic, and I'm loving every single minute of my playthrough. I can tell you right now, if you were thinking about getting this game and you enjoyed Breath of the Wild, do me a favor and just get it. This video is not a full review because realistically, I haven't played enough of it to fairly evaluate it. If you're in the mood for a more in-depth review, check out my Resident Evil 4 remake video. Man, I don't even know where to start. This game is just good. It's fun, really encourages player expression, improves on an already great formula, and it's huge. If you thought Breath of the Wild was big, this game is gonna blow your mind. You got 3 areas of exploration: the main world, the sky, and the depths. Yeah, there are 3 zones for you to check out, and each one is vastly different than the next. The sky islands, while not as massive as the main world, are spread throughout the sky above. Every region has their own islands, and they are the remnants of a new old civilization that you're introduced to. A little confusing, I know, but realistically, doesn't really matter. They got shrines, they got boss fights, they got dungeons, even unique challenges that are only available in the Sky Islands. All of which are of course unique and very well thought out. They can also host their own variety of unique resources, making exploring them something very worthwhile to really build out your experience and arsenal. And sometimes it's necessary. These Sky Islands are just sick, and I really enjoyed every single one of them. It's just sometimes I would be getting to one and I'd just be like, oh my god, there's one over there. How do I get to that one? And it's just like, it's overstimulating. It's awesome. I really loved every single one I went to because it posed a new challenge and a new place to explore. I'm glad that they don't have the whole sky covered with them because it really allowed them to focus on the variety and quality of the smaller amount we have in this game. Okay, boom, checkmark. Sky Islands, great. Mainland, technically the same as Breath of the Wild, but because of the story and by nature of it being a sequel, the world undertook some massive changes, and these changes are pretty good, honestly. It's all still here, but because of the Sky Islands and the depths, new areas have become available to you, as well as new challenges. Areas that were simple and filled in the past game now have something a bit more, with falling debris, or a giant hole in the ground, or difficult enemies lurking around. The main overworld's changes are something I really liked. The world is also very populated. Like, some time has passed since the last game, and since then, more settlements, stables, and just all around life has found its way onto the mainland, and it's awesome. People are out about exploring, towns have their own plot lines, monster forts need to be overtaken, just a crazy amount of things to do here. Minigames, animals to catch, small dungeons, it's all here. In Breath of the Wild, the world felt a little barren, and for the story, it made sense. There was some life to it, but realistically, there wasn't much. And that's not a bad thing. I really liked it. But here, because some time has passed and the great evil has been defeated, there's no reason for life not to flourish. Tears of the Kingdom drops you into a world that's healing and is thriving, and it's fantastic to explore. You'd see adventurers just walking around and be fighting goblins. You can jump in, help them, all that kind of stuff. It's just a wide range of activities that are going on at the same time as you're exploring. The thing about this game is that they could have easily taken the Breath of the Wild world, thrown it in here and said, it's fine, whatever, you guys will play it anyways. But they didn't. They actually took it and they said, you know what, we're gonna make this a better experiences. New dungeons, new caves, new enemies, treasure. Just exploring felt rewarding because they made sure to say, you know what, if someone's gonna climb this mountain, let's make it fun for them. Let's make it different, let's make it unique, let's not settle. And they achieved that very, very well. But I know some of you guys are weirdos. Some of you might be missing that barren world. And honestly, I kind of missed it initially as well. Fear not, because the depths are here to satiate your desires. That's right. For the simple price of your sanity, a new developing fear of the unknown, and a newfound appreciation for the feeling of grass and sunlight, you can explore this brand new, amazing region we like to call the depths. Now, before we have any questions, let me answer them for you. Yes, it's an oppressive, massive expanse of darkness and decay. Yes, the enemies here are very difficult, and yes, exploring is very difficult to do at first. See, initially, I hated this place. It was so annoying to explore and very difficult to just exist down here. It wasn't until I started to learn how to properly navigate the space that I really enjoyed it. Down here, there are no shrines. Instead, every shrine point above ground translates to what is essentially a map tower in the depths. Go to one, turn it on, and you can get the map revealed to you as well as the area around you lit up. This makes exploring much easier because, well, you can see.
I can see!
I can fight!
But it's still not a walk in the park. The enemies hit really hard, there are really unique boss fights down here, and like the whole world is just covered in gloom, and that basically just saps your hearts away. Think of Cursed from Dark Souls 1. When you die, you come back with half your hearts until you use a humanity or whatever the case is to remove it. And it's easier to get rid of it here, but it's still something to where you have to plan out your route. You have to think carefully about taking fights, exploring areas, and having the right resources. If you do any of those three things wrong, you can have a really bad time here. And that's great because there's no time limit to come into this area. It's there, it's gonna stay there, and it's always open to you. So come back when you're ready, or don't come back at all except when it's necessary. And that's fine. Enjoy your time here. Take it at your own pace and have fun. Another cool thing, and I think my favorite thing about the depths, is that it's an inverse of the world above. Giant mountains translate to giant chasms below. Giant chasms above turn into impassable mountains. The creativity when designing this area is really cool and feels very deliberate. I was exploring the depths a lot more than I thought I was going to, and I think that's awesome. The fact that they were able to create a world of pure darkness and death and still make it fun to explore is a testament to their fantastic design team. I also really like the expansion of quests since the last game. Some towns have their own quest lines, while others have unique individual quests from its citizens to allow for certain resources to open up for you once you complete them. Like in this game, instead of fairy fountains costing money to open up, here you have to complete their side quests to get them to help you. It's really nice and it kept me engaged for the entire time. Great quest design, honestly. The side quests, really fun here. Main quest wise, I've only done a couple because I'm taking my time with it, and those are pretty good so far as well. Now, the main thing that's really cool besides the world is the fact that the powers are all revamped here. You don't have access to any of the previous powers except for like camera, but whatever. Instead, they give you a whole new set of them. You have time reversal, ascend, fusion, auto build, and ultra hand. All these powers are neat and very creative driven, meaning that they're as fun as you make them out to be. When I first got them, I was like, okay, I can combine stuff to my sword, I can reverse stuff through time, whatever, no big deal. But soon, I decided to get a little more creative with my abilities. I decided to really take them out for a spin. Let me give you an example. So for some of the shrines, rather a lot of them, you have to build something. So you can traverse a certain path, solve a puzzle the way the game wants you to. Fair enough, right? Well, what if you just didn't? What if instead of building a machine the shrine wants me to build, I take this platform, add a couple jet engines to it, and just fly to the end? Or what if instead I build a giant mech? Or what if I make a platform that I can ascend through by reversing it through time? Or what if I make a bomb shield that can get me so high that I can shoot an arrow that, whatever, you get the idea. The amount of crazy ideas and just overall player expression the new world and powers allow is nuts. If you have the materials and you have the idea, literally nothing can stop you from making a weapon that's banned by the Geneva Convention. Like, okay, look at this. I had a bunch of wheels, flamethrowers, and some wood. And I was like, you know what? I want to make a flamethrower car. So I took the wheels, took the wood, took the flamethrowers, added it all together, made it, was driving it, was having so much fun. And I was like, yes, I did it. And then it fell to ash because it was made of wood, but that's not the point. The point is, I wanted to do it. I had the idea and I was like, let's try it. And it worked. Which is also really impressive. Like on a technical level, this game just works. It's amazing for two reasons. One, the fact that this is able to run as well as it does on the Nintendo Switch is amazing. And two, the fact that you can make these crazy things, have these crazy ideas, and the physics knows how to act. It doesn't freak out, it doesn't explode. Whatever they did in this past year of polish, it worked, and it does a really good job of making sure that your experience is not hindered by your crazy ideas. That, in my opinion, is how they really elevate the true open world concept that was established in Breath of the Wild. They said, okay, you know what? Let's make creativity the facet, the main thing of this game. And they did. Why not make a rocket shield? Why not make a flamethrower shield? If you think that's fun, go for it. The world is truly open, and with that, so are your methods to solve any problem in any way you see fit. That's the thing I love about this game. I can do what I want, go where I want, and goof off as much as I want and still feel like I accomplished something, because I did. My objective is to have fun, and nearly every aspect of this game helps me achieve that. Okay, game is really good. I've established that. But there are some things they can work on. I think the overall game loop is fun. Fight and explore, gather resources, and make stuff to make the fighting and exploring easier. Rinse and repeat, and that works really well. However, I think that something that makes this game a little tedious is the second part of that loop, the gathering resources. The game throws a lot of stuff at you. Monster parts, food, building parts, all of which are really appreciated. I can always fuse something to my weapon to make it better because the game gave me enough monster parts to do so. It's nice. Unfortunately, the issue comes from the resources like money and zonite. Zonite is used for purchasing energy cells or using it for auto build. Auto build is to build things that you've built in the past and rebuild them in exchange for zonite. There you go, brief overview. Now, the problem is that the game does not give me enough zonite to satiate my building desires, and that may be a way of helping nerf the power of building, which, fair, but at the same time, let me build what I want. It's not a huge problem, but it's one of the aspects of the game that feels a little grindy to me. Also, all the armor is expensive in this game, and you don't get nearly as much money as the last one, which kinda sucks, but again, it's not a huge deal, it's just a little annoying. Also, I think they could tweak how cutscenes work in this game, specifically the way you get them, because the way they work right now is that they have them like above ground, they're like giant glyphs that you can go to, touch them on a certain part, and you get the cutscene. Fair enough, right? However, there is no order that they tell you to get them in, which is fine in concept, but because of that, I accidentally saw like the ending of the story, the first one I went to, and I was just like, oh, okay. I don't want them to like handhold me through them, but I kind of wish they had a method to make sure I saw it in a coherent order instead of just the ending. But you know, again, it's not that huge of a deal. I'm not playing this game for the story, but that might annoy some people. Speaking of story, I was also a little bummed to see all the progress we've made in the last game just kind of undone. I understand they have to make the loop a lot more enjoyable and push players to explore the map, whatever the case is, but personally, I don't really get why none of the Sheikah stuff from the Breath of the Wild carry over. Like all the towers, guardians, divine beasts, the powers of the champions, they're all gone. I'm about 50 hours into this game and they haven't really offered an explanation as to where that stuff kind of went. Kind of makes me feel like the first game didn't happen, and after the amount of time I sunk into that game, I wish my efforts were showing here. Whether that be the map still remains, or I have some gear, or just something that makes the work I put in rebuilding Hyrule worth something. Again, I still like this game, but it's something that has been bothering me throughout my time with it. Why is all the stuff from the last game just gone? In the grand scheme of things, it probably doesn't matter, but for me, I would have liked that part addressed at least in a cutscene or something, you know? But honestly, that's all I have in terms of negativity. There's a lot that this game has to offer, and just those few things are minor sticking points that shouldn't affect your overall experience, in my opinion. The game's good, really good. I'm not sure how I'll rate it when I'm done with it, but I'm really liking it so far. Game of the year though, I'm honestly not sure because we got a lot of really good heavy hitters this year, but it's definitely on the list as a potential winner. Should you buy this game though? Well, I wouldn't actually rush to recommend it to everybody. I think the potential buyers for this game could fall into 3 camps. First camp is that you liked Breath of the Wild and had no issues with it, then you'll like this one and you're in for a treat. Go ahead, buy the game, you'll enjoy it. Second camp is that if you thought that Breath of the Wild was too much in terms of content as well as self-paced exploration with too little guidance, then this game might be for you. It actually does solve the problem of too little guidance by putting more emphasis on the direction you should be going and which quests might be best to undertake first. In my opinion, however, this game really shines when you're just out and about in the open world and enjoying yourself. But to answer the question, you can enjoy this game if you would like a more guided experience, but just know it might be a little difficult to do only the main path. Now, the final group of people I want to address are people who aren't inherently creative, and that's not a bad thing. What I mean by that is, some people just don't enjoy the creativity, sandbox type exploring that some of these games offer. And that's fine. They want a more streamlined, chill, sit down kind of experience that some games offer. And I genuinely understand that. With that in mind, if you're the type of person who's not very creative and does not enjoy the building / sandbox type world interactions that might be present in other games, then you might want to think hard about buying this game. Don't get me wrong, all that stuff in this game is fun, but if you're someone who struggles with the concepts inherently, then you might not enjoy it here. Those concepts are at the heart of this game. It isn't absolutely necessary, but it really enhances the experience and is a major factor that the devs wanted players to indulge in when exploring the world. There are parts where you can tell that building is almost necessary and creativity is mandatory to make it a better experience. But at the end of the day, it's up to you. Who knows, maybe this game's approach might get you into these kinds of games. Whatever the case is, I know I for one am going to be playing this for a long time. I still have a lot to go through and I hesitate to give any kind of score to it because I know I'm not anywhere close to finishing. This game really nails creativity, exploring, player expression, and just all around fun. Tears of the Kingdom is an excellent experience and I really recommend it for anyone who's looking for a great open world sandbox type game. At least that's the first impressions that I've got so far. I'm 50 hours in, who knows, maybe at the 51st hour I'd be like, this game sucks, but we'll see. Anything that you really like about it that I didn't mention? Let me know your thoughts. All in all, the game is good and fun. For the price, it has a lot of content going for it and you really do get a huge complete package. Just like Breath of the Wild, this game is going to be played for a long time. I'm actually very curious how they're going to move forward with the Zelda series. I get that this game just came out and they're probably not even thinking about the next project, but I want to know how they plan to elevate this experience, if at all. Do they make Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom 3? Or do they return to the traditional Zelda format? Whatever they decide, I eagerly await their next project. I really hope it's on the Switch 2 or whatever the case is for their next console, because this game, it runs really well, but sometimes, oof, it's a little dicey there. Thanks for watching the video. If you liked it, subscribe. Have a good one.